What is up, guys? Gale right here. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. It has been a minute. The last video I was on the Yelan video, which in my opinion, I think I'm still right about that video, but you guys can go check it out for yourselves and figure out whether I was right or wrong regarding the artifact setup for Yelan. But that's besides the point. That was in the past. Of course, it has been a while since I made an appearance on this YouTube channel, and I do apologize. I know YouTube probably hates me for uploading like once in every 2 months, but I wanted to take my time and come back purely because one, well, I'm going to be busy from next month with the university happening, and two, I wanted to figure out something where I could play the game I like and also cover it as well, but at a slower pace. It wouldn't be uploads like every single day where I have to sit down and record like half an hour's worth of video where I'm not enjoying myself, or I think I'm not doing a good enough job and I can't give you guys the best information. But then I thought of a game where I've been playing the game for nearly 4.5 years. It's reached its 50th anniversary, well, 2 months back, and I feel like it's underrepresented on YouTube. People are there who cover it, but I feel like there could be more people and it would become a much bigger community as a result of it. And that is Danmachi Memoria Freese. Yes, this is a game that's been on its 50th anniversary for now 2 months. It's 4.5 years old on the global version, so by that you can infer that we are on the same schedule as the JP version. So in that sense, it's a fantastic game because you are not lagging behind any version. It's not like FGO or Dokkan, and it's not caught up like Grand Cross. It's not a version that has caught up to the JP version. It's been the same as the JP version since launch. Very similar to My Hero Academia Ultra Impact. If you've played that game, you know what I'm talking about, right? So just like the JP version is celebrating its 50th anniversary, we are celebrating their 50th anniversary as well on global. So like I said, it's been 2 months since the game has released or its 50th anniversary celebration, and we are on part 3 today. So it has been a while. I wanted to gather my thoughts. I was thinking about it. Do I do a video on Danmachi Memoria Freese? The 50th anniversary is around here. Do I want to make it a mainstay of the channel and probably the main part of the channel? And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I do want to make it the main part of the channel. I think I can cover it really well. So this is going to be the one of 2 videos going up today. I don't think there is actually a live stream later on today, but I need to check. But if there is a live stream going up, then there will be a second video. If not, then this will be the only video going out today. And this video is going to be a bit of a rambling session, in all honesty. It's not going to be coherent in any way, so I apologize if you're looking for some coherent talking going on. But I wanted to talk about Danmachi Memoria Freese, the game itself, give you guys my thoughts on the game 5 years in. Where do I rank it compared to other gacha games? Because as some of you may know, I play a lot of gacha games. I play Genshin, I play FGO, I play Dokkan, I played Legends at one point, I played Danmachi, I played Epic 7 at one point, Zero Lane, Arknights, and so on and so forth. I played a lot of gacha games. But this is one of the few games that has actually stuck around for a very long time. And part of that is actually the storytelling experience, which is the first thing I want to tackle when we get into the game. So as you guys can see, once you get into the game, you have the main story. The main story is represented really well. Whenever the anime is done, we have side stories for the anime going on right now, but whenever the anime is done, they will add them as main story quests, or they'll add them as an event first and then translate it to a story quest. Along with that, Danmachi has a spin-off called Sword Oratoria. They do have stories for that as well. So you have the I story, the Lafia story, and then they have the main Sword Oratoria story that's continued on from those parts basically. These things aren't actually animated as well. Danmachi has 4 seasons worth of shows, but Sword Oratoria doesn't have anything. So if you're looking for, the storytelling experience but not in light novel format, you have to come to the game actually to experience the Sword Oratoria story. Along with that, they have a story for every anniversary, for every event, every celebration that comes out, there is a new story event. And usually, more often than not, it is observed and written by the author of Danmachi itself, Fujino Omori, which is great. And I tell you what, a lot of these stories that we get, they're easily capable of getting anime adaptations. Heck, the Christmas 2019 story that we had, the Christmas 2019 event, that's gotten a manga adaptation. And the 30th anniversary story from the Danmachi game has gotten a light novel adaptation. So you can tell how good the stories are when they're getting actual adaptations from the game. It's so rare. I cannot tell you, and I cannot stress this enough, how rare it is for a game to actually get a manga or light novel adaptation for, not, well, original stories in the game that weren't ever existing beforehand. It's so cool to see, and it goes to show how good the stories are. You know, when we talk about good storytelling gacha games, we go to FGO, we go to Genshin, Honkai. Genshin a little less so because they're still early on and they're not unbelievable. They're decent, but they're not crazy good like FGO is or Honkai is or even Arknights for some people, right? But not Genshin, sorry, Danmachi is very much that. I think it has some of the best storytelling experiences in any gacha game, and I highly recommend. If you're looking for a game with good stories, this is it. This has some of the best storytelling experiences in my opinion. I cannot stress it enough. It's so good. It is so good. And along with that, we do have PvP. Now, I'll come to Heroic Trials and 7th Zone in just a second, but we do have PvP in this game. Now, as you guys can see, we have 5 menus here. Monsterphilia can be ignored. It's not something that's been updated for a very long time. Probably one of the things that they need to update in the future, but it's okay. It doesn't really matter too much. But the big ones you need to look at is Record Buster, War Games, and Untitled Chapter. Record Buster is a PvE ranking mode. Right now, I'm top 500. I'm, I think, 140th or 150th. If I were to update, 158. Never mind. It's basically where you try and deal the most damage to a boss within 15 turns without dying, basically. And it's good. It gives you some of the best rewards in the game right now because all you need to do is reach top 5,000 or top 10,000 and you get one free multi, and it's so easy to reach top 10,000. It's not even funny. As long as you start playing the game and you work on your units relatively well, you will be able to get to top 10,000 very easily. It's not even funny as to how easy it is. And it's the same thing with War Games. Right now we have War Games training, so it doesn't show you the best rewards, but it's the same concept. You basically take your team, you go up against another player's team, and they duke it out. You don't have any control. It's EVE PvP basically, but the rewards are super easy to get. The first 10 matches are bots basically, and then you start fighting other players, and you will probably reach Battle Princess, which nets you about 500 Iris as well, which is little more than a multi. A multi is 400 Iris basically. And Untitled Chapter is a new mode that they've added. It's similar to War Games, but it's kind of like Princess Connect PvP if you've ever played it, or something like that basically, where you choose your opponent, you get a score depending on what type of opponent you've chosen, and you duke it out basically. So if I were to pick this opponent, I can do it right now as an example because I have 3 attempts a day effectively, so I can use this team that I have, which is basically a bunch of the anniversary units in all honesty, and I can just duke it out. Now let's see how it goes. And this is exactly how PvP would go basically. This is how War Games would go as well, and you would basically go up against a team. Some teams are obviously ailment based. As you guys could see, they inflicted poison and stun there for a split second. You guys might have seen it a little bit, but effectively it is you going up against another opponent basically who are able to attack you guys. All right, I was a little bit scared that, I'm not gonna lie, with the taunt and everything going on. I was a little bit scared that I was just not gonna be able to kill here, but it seems like we're in a good spot right now, which is fine. Because we're gonna go for the attack there. Beautiful, we won there. All right, I was a little bit concerned because taunt teams are something I'm weak to. I don't necessarily have the counters to a good taunt team, and I was kind of concerned there. But yes, there is metas to the team. You can go full physical like I have, where it's just all out guns blazing attack. You can go taunt and ailments basically, so where you inflict status debuffs on your team opponents basically. And then there's magic as well. There's various team compositions you can run. Of course, some compositions will be better than others, and some will be able to counter one or the other, so you want to try and micromanage that. And of course, the big thing is just knowing how to team build, and again, that's a lot of gacha games, especially with PvP, are like that. Now, the gacha system, in my opinion, is fantastic. Now, currently, because of the anniversary part 3 going on, we have a free multi every day for 15 days basically. I think we're on day 6 or 7 right now, but the gacha system is great. You have a 1 4 7 10 setup where every multi on those steps will be a guaranteed 4-star from any of the new characters. It's not taking it from any of the unfeatured list or anything of that sort. There is double rates for anniversary as well, but it's kind of fake. I won't explain too much about that. If you want a video on that, I'll explain it in another video. But yeah, like I said, you get a guaranteed 4-star on the first 4 7 10 steps, so that's 4 units for free basically. And on top of that, if you really want to spend your money on this game, you can get a free copy of the, well, not free copy, but you can use paid iris and get a free copy of the unit. Now, I know a lot of people will be questioning like, oh, that's wrong, you know, paid currency banners, they're never good and stuff like that. But when it comes to a game like Danmachi, and you know, just as a collector, if you're a collector, that's fantastic. If you're a whale, that's also fantastic, because all you need to do is spend 400 paid iris, which is, yes, it'll be like 10-15 bucks basically. If you were to go over here and check out the store, it would be around that. But I think it's always been good. I know a lot of people, yeah, it's 20 bucks for during the sale basically. I know a lot of people would consider it to be a little bit rough, and it's not very healthy for the game, but it just works out, in my opinion, super well, especially if you're, one, a collector like I said, and two, well, I didn't get a 4-star there, and two, if you're just trying to basically, you know, be a whale and you aren't able to get that final copy, rather than going 30-40 multis deep without getting a free copy or an extra copy, you can just use $20 and get a paid iris. That's so much better as a whale, right? That is so much better as a whale. And on top of that, there are alternative ways to get free copies as well. So if I were to go to the shop right now, and if I were to go to the special exchange first, for example, for limited time characters, you can easily exchange these gnome tickets. Now, I've used up all my gnome tickets for the anniversary units already, hence why I only have 470. But going into the anniversary, I had about 6,000, if not 7,000 gnome tickets, which is 7 adventure star bonds, or basically 4 assist star bonds. Again, really solid. That's maxing out a character. You need 6 copies of a unit to max them out, the original, and 5 dupes basically. And it's the same thing with heroic try, or the normal units as well, the ones that aren't time limited. You can easily get these hero medals and flame amulets with every story event you do. You get 1 of these amulets slash medals, and you need 3 of them to exchange. Super easy as well. Along with that, if you get dupes of 4 stars that you already have way too many of, you get dulled, which you can exchange for normal prison bonds as well. Again, there's so many alternative ways, and another alternative way to get more dupes is heroic trials. Heroic trials is a great way for you guys to get your dupes. Basically, like, you just do this event again and again, and once you reach 600 of these event items basically that you guys can see that we require here, these things basically down here, which I have 101 of, you can exchange it for one of these red light slash jade medals and exchange for one of the copies. Now, I've already picked up mine, super easy, but it just gives you so many avenues to get free copies of these characters that you don't have to really stress about having to pay every single time a new unit comes around. It's not necessary. Of course, if you want to support the game, or if you want to support the creators, then it's a fantastic way of going about it. Now, let's talk a bit about the gameplay itself, right? I showed you guys how it exactly works without us touching anything or anything of that sort. So what I'm gonna do is, well, first and foremost, let the UI change. This is something that they do for every celebration, basically, for every anniversary or big event. They basically change how the UI looks. It makes things a little bit slower, but it's one way of going about it. So as you guys can see, this is the gameplay, or the game menu basically. Once we get into a fight, on the top right, it's your special arts bar. It's very similar to any turn-based RPG you've played. There is a special arts which we can get after using an attack. There are ways to increase the amount or the speed at which it charges up. Of course, we can't show that off in full force. Like you guys can see, this unit can do so many things. Now, the one thing about Danmachi is that there's a lot of buffs to worry about, because you guys can see right here itself, there are so many different buffs. There's damage received, there's STR, magic, endurance, agility, dexterity. Those are 5 attributes. Then you have the SA charge, you have the physical and magic resist. There's so many things you have to worry about and care about that if I were to go here, right now I've already, just based on my assists alone, I've got these many buffs. And along with that, you can add more, like stack on top of that adventurer buffs as well. So it becomes a little bit crazy in that regards. But in my opinion, it's fantastic as well, because all it means is that you're gonna basically be wanting to make sure your units are doing damage effectively. So like right now, I'm obviously, well, I already killed there. Doesn't really pan out the way I think it would, but you basically attack, you try and buff up your characters basically, and keep going stronger and stronger so that you can be able to easily combat against anything you necessarily want to. So I love this gameplay style. A lot of people may not like it because turn-based RPGs are so common, especially in gacha games. It's not really anything new particularly, but in my opinion, it's fantastic for that particular reason. Along with that, we do have equipment and stuff, which if you guys want me to make a specific guide on, I will 100%. Don't stress on that. I'm not going to go too detailed into that, but each character has their own specific weapon that you want to try and build for them, and the workarounds and the way to build it up is super easy. They've made it much more linear than it used to be, because it used to be a lot worse, but now they've made it actually pretty decent. Of course, on top of that, like I said, there's 5 dupes you need to get for these units, right? So if I were to go all the way down, that's the 4-star, that's the 5-star, the 6-star. This is super easy. Every character can get to 6 stars no matter what. Now, the limit break board is basically where you will want your dupes. So you want to just try and clear out each board one by one. So if you have one dupe, it'll open up the rightmost line basically. So SMAED at the top right. So the first row will clear out, the second row, then the third, the fourth, and then the fifth. So if I were to go to the right, if I were to go to, like, say a +1 unit, right? Let's go to a +1 unit that I have, because I usually go by slowly whenever it comes to upgrading some of these units, because there is a daily where you have to level up your characters and I don't want to run out of characters. So if I were to go to this, as you guys can see, the rightmost board is cleared out because I have one dupe. If I were to limit break this copy of this character, I can do this and then unlock more, and I'd have to level up the character, then limit break, and so on and so forth. So it's pretty easy as to how to limit break. The materials you need to unlock those boards, super easy to obtain, not difficult whatsoever. And overall, like I said, the game itself is very easy to get into, in my opinion. It's not very complicated. Even 5 years into the game, you will be able to understand the game a little bit easily. It's just once you start getting into the nitty-gritty side of things, for example, if you want to try and set up like an automated skill flow mode, basically. So basically where you manually set what your units do. So right now there's nothing set, but if I were to go to another team that I have, I think it's this team. Yeah, this team has a full skill flow set up, basically, to say like, okay, this is what you need to do here, this is what you need to do there, and this is what you need to do on this turn, basically. So it makes it much more easier for me. I can just put this on auto and let her rip. I don't have to keep selecting the moves and stuff. It's only applicable to certain stages, like for example in heroic trials, in 7th zone, where you get equipment material basically to ascend your weapons, and also Record Buster and some of the familiar events. And let's talk about familiars, right? Familiars are basically the guild system of this game, and while they haven't necessarily done a fantastic job with them, in my opinion, some of the misses being Familiar Rush and Masters and Familiar Wargame, I think the Familiar Wargame as well as the Familiar Royale are so good, and they are such nice game modes because it allows players to be a little bit more you have to be planned out, you have to be efficient with how you play those game modes, but you don't have to be on your game 24/7. Unfortunately, Masters of Familiar Wargame and Masters of Familiar Wargame is just the step above the Familiar Wargame. It's basically where 2 guild members or 2 guilds basically go up against each other. My guild finished 38th overall in the server. But it's basically where 2 guilds go up against each other. The Masters of Familiar Wargame is only the top 16 guilds, but they're not the biggest fan of it because the rewards are pretty ass and they just don't work out really well in that favor. Familiar Royale is basically like Record Buster, but with familiars effectively. So you try and set the best score each day. There's a new boss every 3 or 4 days. You get three bosses in total. The highest boss or the hardest boss that releases on the last day gives the most reward, but it's the most challenging to beat. But Familiar Rush is basically like the raid system in Precone, if you've played it. If you played Guild Wars in Precone or clan battles, it's very similar to that. You basically try and beat the boss, then you go on to the second round, beat that boss, and then the third boss, and then you start back at the first boss, and so on and so forth. So you have to plan your attacks really well in order to reach the top ranks. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Of course, more often than not, it doesn't work out for most guilds because people don't have the time to, set aside like, oh, okay, I have to attack now, but shit, I'm in an exam, or I'm doing some work IRL, or I'm at my job. It doesn't work out really well in that regards, and it can be a problem. It's why, unfortunately, the Familiar I was once in, the Tech Fam, run by Technia, of course, one of the OG Danmemo YouTubers, we were consistently first until they released Familiar Rush, and then we couldn't do anything because we all just simply didn't have the time or capability to actually play the game for that long. But again, like I said, these are all add-ons to what is the main core of the story. And I've spoken a little bit about each part of the game. I think overall the game is in a very good place when it comes to the events and stuff. They're also adding a new familiar event, which I haven't mentioned yet, but they are planning on adding a new familiar event at the end of August called the Grand Familiar Battle, where it's basically half the server against the other half of the server, so 50-50 split basically, I assume. And the big thing about this game isn't, in my opinion, the familiar stuff. It's not the PvP modes. It's not the heroic trials or anything of that sort. Well, it is kind of the heroic trials. But the main thing of this game, or the main crux and the main selling point of this game, is its story. If you get into the Danmachi story and you're interested in it, or you're interested in any storytelling experience and adventure story, this is the game for you. The storytelling experiences in this game are second to none. I still maintain the anniversary stories could easily be adapted into anime format or another light novel, and well, one of them has been adapted into a light novel now. I just think that this is one of those games where if you're into any story or you want to get into any story, this is it. This is absolutely 100% it. You will never be disappointed, in my opinion. I don't think I've been disappointed by one story. Obviously, there are different tones to each story. Not all of them are dark and dreary or adventure or heroic. Some of them are really memey at times, like they host like an April Fool's one. There was once when everybody got turned into an RPG party, basically, like it was an actual RPG and stuff. It was very funny. There is a good range of stories, is the best way to put it. It's not always the same tone or same dark, dreary tone, or it's not always happy-go-lucky kind of thing. There is a good mix of stories, and honestly, I still think there's way more to come as well. The more characters get introduced, right, or just generally through the game's OCs, or even if they introduce them via the anime and releasing new characters and stuff, we're gonna be experiencing a game that will never end, pretty much, in my opinion. I think there's a long way to go for Danmachi. I don't think it's ending anytime soon, and I'm very much looking forward to the future of the game. Like I said, I'm gonna back it 100%. I'm gonna be dropping some more videos in the coming days, of course. Like I said, I don't know if there's a live stream today. I have to check after I record this video, but if there is a live stream, expect there to be another video today. If not, expect a video tomorrow, and I'm gonna be giving my thoughts on the anniversary story. I'll give my thoughts on the anniversary story. I also expect some guides as well if you're interested in that as well. I'm very curious to see what you all think of the game itself, and if you guys are interested in seeing more of the game. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Like I said, this was a bit of a rambling episode where I'm just talking and talking and not doing much realistically, but I thought it would be a great way for me to talk about the game, my likes, my dislikes, and do I think whether the game will continue, which, yes, I think the game will continue. Of course, there are parts of the game that I don't like too much, right? For example, I feel like it's a little bit too whaley. If you are going to plan, if you're going to want to be the best, you're going to have to spend a lot. Like, me being 158 is not easy. You have to get a bit lucky with the banner. I also had to spend a little bit, in all honesty, to get to this point, to have the unit that I have from the anniversary, right? You're not going to be able to get this lucky where you're going to have all of these units. Also, collaboration units are there. If you guys want me to talk about the history of Danmachi and its collaborations, feel free to let me know. But yeah, I think overall this game has a long way to go. I'm very excited to keep playing and, you know, working on this game through videos and stuff. So yeah, it's something that I'm gonna be having on this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Though, if you guys enjoyed it, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course, comment down below what would you want to see from Danmachi Memoria Freese as well. I'd appreciate all of y'all for sticking around, and you know, even if you might be more interested in Genshin, don't worry, I will be recording some Genshin stuff in the future, especially once Sumeru drops. Live stream news will be there, summons will be there, so don't worry, Genshin will still be on the channel, but it'll be a lot more infrequent, and by a lot I mean like one video a month maybe. So be wary on that. Thank you guys so much for watching once again this video. I will see y'all next time. Take it easy, everybody. Bye bye.